Yeah, we're singing back that right now. Man has created the global warming.
The end of an old era.
All right, it is Matt Drudge here on Sunday night. It is the Drudge Report. If you're just joining us here, I did make the announcement about an hour ago that this is my last regularly scheduled Sunday night broadcast on radio. So, I mean, to me, again, the hardest part of it is telling you that. It's not the hardest part leaving this regularly scheduled Sunday night show that we've done for 9 years and nearly 500 shows. So, I mean, I am kind of excited about it for my own personal side of things. The ability to do extended travel is got me pretty giddy. Now, there have been a lot of other things reported about why I'm leaving and how I'm leaving and all that. It's not correct. It's a very simple decision here. And, again, you probably will be hearing more of me during the daylight hours than you possibly could have heard on these Sunday night hours. So I'll just leave it at that for the time being here. Justice Thomas' book is coming out as the sun comes up, breaking his silence, not just on Anita Hill. I mean, that's the sexy part, I guess, but a whole assorted things. And he really let it go on 60 Minutes tonight with Steve Kroft. And, again, Kroft is probably going to get criticized for doing a puff piece on Justice Thomas. And it actually wasn't a puff piece. It was a riveting piece. It's almost like, well, if you let Justice Thomas talk, it's going to be riveting. And I noticed they didn't do that much editing on him. Sometimes everything is left on the 60 Minutes floor there. I mean, remember Chris Ruddy at the time on that Vince Foster story, and they did one on him, and he played the actual interview versus what they aired on CBS, because I guess Ruddy had recorded it, and it was like not even one complete sentence was aired with Mike Wallace, who has the attention span probably of a gnat. Even if Mike Wallace knows what planet he's on right now. So, I mean, I have a hunch that Clarence Thomas, they just allowed him to talk. And this is how it went down when Steve Kroft got into it. But you're black, Justice Thomas. You're black. You're black.
Not I'm black or not. That's just silliness. That is not worth responding to.
How much of your life is determined by your race?
I don't know. I'm black. You know, how much of your life is determined by being male? I have no idea. I'm black. That's a fact of life. I'm 5 feet 8.5 inches tall. I don't know how much of my life is determined by being 5 feet 8.5 inches tall. It's just a part of who I am.
But you think of yourself as a black man?
I'm a man. I'm a man. First and foremost, I'm a citizen of this country, and I happen to be black. I am a human being.
Thomas believes the Constitution is colorblind, and he is part of an emerging majority on the court that believes laws granting preferential treatment based on race should be struck down. But it's Thomas who has been vilified by the civil rights establishment, in part because he is black and because he is viewed as having benefited from some of the very programs he now opposes. At best, they consider him a hypocrite. At worst, a traitor to his own people.
You've been successful, you've moved on, you don't care about people in your race.
Oh, that's silliness.
You do care.
Oh, obviously I do. Come on. You know, but it's none of their business. How much does Justice Scalia care about Italians? Did you ask him that? Did anybody ever ask him? Give me a break. Do I help people? Absolutely. Do I love helping black people? Absolutely, and I do. But do I like helping all people? Yes. In particular, I like helping people who are disadvantaged. Is disadvantage the exclusive province of blacks? No.
Whether you agree with him or not, he is thoughtful, provocative, and...
Wow, I just could go on and on about that. Wow. And again, there's some people who are literally having a violent reaction to Justice Thomas tonight on 60 Minutes. I'm getting the emails here. Violent reaction. That evil, that evil. What was evil about what he said? I mean, and as far as, and we'll do a little bit more as the night goes on, but as far as he's saying, look, I'm not going to respond to criticism here. I'm not going to go, and every time somebody, and Al Sharpton gets out that bullhorn and starts marching on Duke, and all these other lies that Sharpton just continues to tell, I'm not going to start responding to that when they do that to me. Very provocative. Very provocative stuff. And Steve Kroft just sat there and goes, "You're black." Yeah, and you're white. And you're on a show that used to get a 30 share, and now you're getting a 16 share. Which is still better than most of them, though. But wow, what a performance. And it will guess I continue. ABC is now talking about Justice Thomas' suicidal thoughts. And Justice Thomas thinks the progressives are worse than Southern racists. On and on. I'm getting all the press releases here. The Clarence Thomas Dam has opened. Will it translate to book sales? This one might. Somebody who I trust dearly was telling me this book is like Malcolm X. And, from a different point of view, obviously, but this is that type of a call that he was going to march into the Senate hearing to meet the man. Wow. This is some provocative stuff and much needed. They must be going nuts there. You got Condoleezza Rice, the highest-ranking African-American woman of all time. You've got Clarence Thomas, who is dominating the airwaves with logic, optimism, honesty, a reasonable assessment on things. It must be going crazy. Must just be going crazy. And we've got Al Sharpton, who's still not apologizing for the Duke thing. But you got Don Imus, Al. You got Don Imus. Craziness. I mean, that is integrity. What I saw tonight on the 60 Minutes, that is the integrity. Not this cartoon characters we've been seeing on the civil rights marches, the Jesse Jacksons and the Sharptons.
Do you think it's funny to call people nappy-headed hoes? No, I don't. So you thought it was funny Wednesday morning? I don't know if I thought it was funny or not, but it was a situation where we're sitting there rapping, see? And I'm saying I watched the game last night between Rutgers and Tennessee. And I heard one of the sportscasters say Rutgers is a lot tougher team. And so I got on the air, and I said, man, they are tough. I said, they got tattoos. And then somebody else said something, and then I said that. So, and at the time I said it, because I'm talking about two African-American teams. And at the time I said it, I didn't think, I'm just telling you what I thought. I didn't think it was racial. I wasn't even thinking racial. I was thinking like a West Side Story deal, like one team's tough and one team's not so tough. Nappy is racial. Yes, sir, I understand that. Saying wannabes and jigaboos is racial. I did not say that, and that was said in You didn't argue with it either. It was the same conversation. No, sir, but that was presented in the context of the Spike Lee film. And again, this was in that film with light-skinned blacks and dark-skinned blacks. That was what that was about, which is what the analogy, I assume, was being raised in terms of the two teams with Tennessee and Rutgers. Well, we weren't really thinking about that. That's obvious. We so we make all these analogies. Let me get this right. You call these people nappy-headed hoes, but you wasn't talking racial when you said nappy. Jigaboos and wannabes, but you didn't understand what you were saying. You just, what are you saying? You blanked out? Oh, no, I didn't. No. I didn't. Don't tell me. I didn't say I didn't understand what we were saying. I said I wasn't thinking that. Now, if somebody says jigaboos and wannabes, then my frame of reference is a Spike Lee film.
We felt your pain.
All right, Matt Drudge, 1-866-4-DRUDGE, 1-866-4-DRUDGE, and as promised here, take some of these calls. Is Jack still on the line from Cologne, Germany? I don't believe that one, but come on in, Jack.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, what time is it over there?
It's 6 hours plus GMT. Anyway, I'm currently under a staircase using some Wi-Fi that I picked up. My laptop doesn't have too much battery left, but I have a request to make of you. Would you consider doing a podcast every once in a while and just putting the information on your website. Like, I'll be doing a podcast from here to here, and if you want to call in, you can, so we can still have an interaction.
No, Jack, I just think the idea is to do broadcasting over the main airwaves when that opportunity presents itself. I mean, the Internet for me, are you finding audio bites on the Internet valuable, podcasting valuable?
Recently, yes. In the past, I actually haven't. It's been more when I'm traveling now, so I can get them when I need them. You understand?
Yeah. I don't know. And thanks for the idea there. I mean, we're sitting here with all these millions of hits an hour. I mean, I guess if we put something on, I don't have the servers, quite frankly, nor do I want to get into the situation where, and I don't know how many servers we have to run the Drudge Report on at any given day. I know it's a lot. Because I notice when I go and I'm linking to other sites now, they're crashing more and more often. I mean, when we linked to Speaker Pelosi's website, we crashed it. We crashed it. It wouldn't load. I mean, sometimes I understand, a small O&O out of a small regional newspaper. I understand all that. But when you start linking to the Senate, and I remember they did an investigation, we crashed the Senate once. So, I mean, the fact is the audio is a lot of bandwidth, video is a lot of bandwidth, and it would have to really be thought through. And as you know, I'm not linked up with a corporation for the website, so I don't necessarily want to invest money just to talk. I mean, I've been talking, again, 9 years and almost 500 shows. I mean, I don't necessarily feel the need to continue to talk there, Cologne, Germany. I mean, I look forward to not talking as much. Will in Rhode Island on WPRO. You're on the air with Drudge.
Hey, Mr. Drudge. Thanks for having me on. It's the third time I've called, and I've been listening to you since the spring of '04. So you can imagine how disappointed I was to hear that, you'll be going into a semi-retirement. But
I don't know if it's semi-retirement. It's leaving this Sunday night.
Well, in any event,
I'm looking for I am going to probably be up till 2 a.m. here on the East. You know what time I'm waking up tomorrow morning to do the Drudge Report?
No.
About 7. So, and it starts all over again, and that has been the consistent. And I don't sit here and just start, I'm not looking for sympathy at all. I mean, I don't have any dreams left because all of them have been fulfilled. So, Will, don't get me wrong that I'm sitting here complaining about it, but that is the reality of my situation. It does not end when this broadcast is over.
Well, let me tell you a few things you've done for me. In the few years I've been listening to you, you introduced me to people like Deadline Hollywood and Nikki Fink and the Fox 411 entertainment writer. You've showed me what government is doing as far as like cameras, traffic cams, and of course introduced the media to what the fairness doctrine was, which has gotten a lot of press this year. But on a personal level, I really admire you because you're like those classic 30s, 40s era newsmen, but in the modern day era using today's technology. And it
is a love of a headline. I mean, I do relate to that. When I did a tour of the museum in Washington, and I had so much. I just felt a tug on me when I saw all those early headlines that look a lot like the Drudge Report, and I didn't know it.
Oh, wow.
It was just sort of a sympathy for a good headline. I mean, a good headline has always just turned me on. What can I say? And the notion that that is a unique thing isn't necessarily true. I wonder if all the other main press appreciate a good headline, though. Really, sometimes it comes down to that. You see these watered-down headlines. Sometimes a good headline is like, pow. Unless you go, oh, blank, it's not a really good headline. I mean, so some of it comes down to that. So I appreciate the call there. He sounded like a fan. So he was saying one of the things I turned him on to were the cameras everywhere. The cameras, the surveillance cameras and the traffic cameras, which are now being converted to crime-watching cameras, that has been one of the biggest makeovers in our civilization in my lifetime. In the dailiness of being watched in society, that is a huge change. And I'm not sure one vote has ever been cast on that. If you think about it, that is a major change, along with everything else. But that one just sort of strikes me as, did we think that one through? I got a chance to watch a rerun of Enemy of the State, the great Will Smith and the Tony Scott film, last night. And Will Smith's wife at one point, and this was done in the 90s because Clinton did a lot of that spying, and Janet Reno admitted she was watching the Unabomber on satellite. So all you late to the game thinking, oh, Bush is the one doing all the spying, it was going on in the 90s, and that's why they made Enemy of the State. It wasn't a futuristic vision. It was happening then, unfortunately. Maybe not to the same degree, but it was happening then. I remember Nat Hentoff saying, well, he was always blasting Janet Reno for having this unprecedented amount of search warrants, unprecedented wiretapping. The desire of the government to listen to us is frightening. Anyway, well, Will Smith's wife was saying, we need a watcher to watch the watcher's watcher. I thought that was about right. Who is watching the watchers? Because we've got watchers, supposedly Congress, but who's watching the watchers? And who's watching the watchers who are watching the watchers? That's what happens in a surveillance society. There is no end in sight to all this. And all that globalism junk from Strobe Talbot and Madeleine Albright and Hillary and Billary is all going to come crashing back. All of it is coming crashing back. You forget the globalism of the Clintons, and it's all coming back. It's going to be absolutely frightening. But it's up to you, women. It's up to you, women.
I have to say, you go, girl.
Oh, yes. Will you go with me?
Yes.
I don't know about you, but I like seeing women in charge.
It's up to the women. I mean, the guys could literally just sit this one out, right? I mean, the guys should literally just take a powder on this one.
And maybe it'll take a woman to clean up the house.
They're all lining them up. Dave in Alabama, you're on the air with Drudge.
Drudge?
Yes, you're on, Dave.
Thank God. I want to tell you, what the hell are you doing?
Regarding what? What did I do now?
Well, I mean, you're leaving. It's. I want to tell you something.
Oh, you thought this was until death do us part, Dave? Is that what you thought? You thought I took a vow forever? Is that what you thought?
Well, the death will do us all part.
You want me looking like Larry King and feeling like Katie Couric?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay.
In fact, I'm glad that you've got enough sense, and in fact, you've probably done well financially, and you've got enough sense, so to.
Oh, I've got a desire to actually go to sleep before 2 a.m. on Sunday night, Monday morning. Yeah, that's a.
Understand,
but I'll meet you there, Dave, on the airwaves. I mean, we'll all still be there. I mean, thanks for calling there. He said, "What am I doing? What am I doing?" Too much love in the air tonight. There's got to be some people cheering about it, right? It's Drudge on Sunday nights.
The infamous, deplorable Matt Drudge.
And before you could say Drudge Report.
Blame it on Matt Drudge.
To say that other blacks shouldn't have it, that you pulled the ladder up after you climbed to the top.
Steve, that's silly. Come on.
This is political reality. You are supercharged.
I don't think that when you're dealing with things that are matters of principle or matters of fact, that you can spend a lot of time worrying about what critics say. You have to do your job. My grandfather never worried about it. You've got to do what's right. You don't engage in this kind of pettiness.
What's it like here on a normal day?
Just like it is right now.
pretty quiet.
It's quiet like this. You rarely see your colleagues.
Thomas says the court may be closely divided on important ideological issues, but that he's never heard an uncivil word spoken in his 16 years there. He is reportedly one of the most popular people in the building, well-liked by everyone, including his colleagues. Still only 59 years old, he is on track to become one of the longest-serving Supreme Court justices in history.
And this is your grandfather?
Yeah.
With every decision he makes and every opinion he writes, he thinks about his grandfather, Myers Anderson.
The Supreme Court is a place where a number of justices have changed their views on things. Is it possible that over the next 10 or 15 years that you could change?
My journey has, over the years, been almost that of a prodigal son, where you journey away from your roots in the South. And now I've returned to my roots. And that's why I entitled my book, My Grandfather's Son. I have returned to my grandfather and to the way he raised me. And I think that's home, and that's where I'll stay.
Oh, yes. We'll let the fireworks begin on that one. First Monday in October, that was Steve Croft interviewing Justice Clarence Thomas, who speaks and speaks and speaks. And I guess the next stop is ABC's doing it on Nightline. But tonight a double segment on 60 Minutes that left me standing up off the couch, which I don't think I have done on a television show in a long, long, long time. I mean, wow. But again, that to me tells me it's probably very polarizing. If I had that reaction to it, someone probably had the polar opposite reaction to it. Like, this is vile. How can he be saying these things? You know, the squirming, the shrieking of a man daring to stand up and saying, you know what? I'm black, so what? Oh, no. Oh, wow. That look on Steve Croft's face, that was priceless. 1-866-4-DRUDGE, 1-866-4-DRUDGE. Carrie, line 2, Shreveport, you're on the air.
Hey, man, how are you?
Hello, come on in.
Hey, I'm really upset this is going to be your last show. This has always been one of the shows that, for me at least, has been the easiest to get through to. There's hardly any callers. I was just wondering what you
Well,
think
we're
about
lined up right now.
Howard
I
Stern.
mean...
Howard Stern is serious.
Howard Stern on satellite radio. Supposedly still making $100 million a year, right? 1-866-4... Oh, yeah, I'll miss it. Alexis.
Hey, oh, my gosh. Hey, how am I going to go to sleep on Sunday nights?
Well, you're going to go to sleep on Sunday nights.
Well, I can't. You don't know what I did. I'm in Little Rock, and I had to, scroll through my AM radio and find you in San Antonio because they were off air. And
they haven't gone Espanol. Have they gone Espanol like our affiliate in Oklahoma City?
No.
You know, we had Oklahoma City, an affiliate there, the oldest station in Oklahoma City, go Espanol, and we lost that affiliate.
No, well, where we're going to find you, where we're going to see you, where we're going to hear you. We want to hear you.
Where do you have a computer?
Yes, I do.
Well, DrudgeReport.com is where I am.
Right, but where are you going to be?
Well,
I've been doing that for years.
All right, I don't know. Where else am I? I don't know. In front of the keyboard somewhere, Alexis. I mean, I appreciate it. Where am I going to be? Okay, that's good. Where have I been? I mean, isn't it? It's kind of in your wherever you think I am. We've done this show from some very exotic places. I'll never forget. I guess I shouldn't go into that because what's happening? Our reporters are swarming around, and I don't want people's lives to be torn upside down by reporters. That's what happens anytime I mention anybody's name. They swoop in there. So no, I will protect the innocent. Charlie in Southlake, Texas, you're on the air with Drudge.
Drudge, what's up, man? It's Charlie. How are you?
Holding on.
All right, well, I just wanted to ask you your opinion because I read your site all the time and I see all these headlines about how dangerous Iran is. And I listen to Rush, and he says that before Bush leaves office, he thinks the United States or someone's going to invade Iran before he leaves office. So what do you think?
Well, hold on. We've got about 14 months of this. Better happen soon.
Right? Do you agree or like?
Do I agree? I don't know. I mean, I'm not sitting there in the Situation Room. That very busy situation. Wait a minute, do I agree? What do I know? I mean, it was such a horrifying week last week with the Iranian guy coming here and just spraying all over us like that. That was rather shocking. And I noticed Peggy Noonan writing in the Wall Street Journal, we shouldn't be afraid to hear our enemies. I guess preferably, Peggy, if they don't have a gun to your head. And he didn't have a gun to our head, but don't try to do that in Tehran. Don't try to be Peggy Noonan in Tehran. That wouldn't be pretty. Can they look at each other? I was just reading here the Saudis, the women in Saudi Arabia are petitioning to be able to drive. Simple things like that. So yeah, I guess there are different beliefs all over the world. Very diverse beliefs. Los Angeles calling for Lights Out Hour. This is the warm-up for Al Gore winning the Nobel Peace Prize, which will be announced next week. Coordinating with San Francisco, of course, officials now are planning to turn out the power on a voluntary basis for now. I mean, the notion California voluntarily turning out their lights is a new advancement since they have been having those rolling blackouts from time to time. Los Angeles County and city officials are urging people and businesses and governments to switch off non-essential lights. Does that also include television? Does that also include movies? Does that also include radio? Let's get down to serious business here. Is Los Angeles encouraging people not to go to the movies for 1 hour next month to save energy? This will go dark between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. next Saturday. Is Los Angeles telling its citizens do not go to the movies next Saturday night because we are in an emergency global warming situation, Governor Arnold tells us? It's a great symbol of people coming together, said one city council woman. So is she suggesting we do not go to the movies next Saturday? How about that? Well, we start that here tonight on Drudge. We will not go to the movies next Saturday night in Los Angeles. Leo tells us we're in an urgent 17th hour or 11th hour or 1 hour. Al Gore tells us about our inconvenient truths. All these other movies that are lined up to warn us about the environment. All right, we will boycott or we will conserve energy and not go to the movies next Saturday night. Per Los Angeles City Council urging us non-essential lights, and we assume that means the camera, the projector. We assume. Or is the projector an essential aspect to the Los Angeles economy? Think that one would catch on? We should write an editorial for Daily Variety. All right, we match the Los Angeles County's call for turning off the power on non-essential. Next Saturday night, we will not be going to the movies, and we urge every single citizen in Los Angeles not to go to the movies next Saturday night. For that hour or two to conserve. You think it would go over? I don't think so. Oh, this is like the Roger Ebert of it all. Like, click your lights off. Remember after he reviewed Inconvenient Truth, he goes, I felt guilty. I started turning my lights off. A real powerful gesture there, Roger. How about stop making movies? If it's such an emergency of global warming, environmentalism, stop making movies. We don't need any more movies made. Conserve the energy it takes to make the movies, all the trailers, all the lighting, all the everything that comes together in making a film. We need to conserve that energy. It's not essential that we make movies. So we'll be turning our lights out for at least an hour next Saturday per Los Angeles. Francis Ford Coppola in Buenos Aires, he's having a rough time of it down there. He says in an interview that he lost 15 years of computer data, including writings and family photographs, when robbers raided his home there in Argentina. They stole our computers. They got all our data, many years of work. Now, he's just about to introduce a new movie, right? It's opening, I think, in Rome. His first movie in years and years and years. Francis Ford Coppola, Godfather, Francis Ford Coppola, and Apocalypse Now, all these movies. One of the masters who's coming out of... but now he's having a hard time down there in Buenos Aires because the crime has caught up with him. If he's begging, can we please just get the backup tapes? Just the backup tapes. But he's not concerned. He says Argentine people are very nice. He's just moving to a better area there in Buenos Aires where he feels safer. 4 robbers, at least one brandishing a knife, broke through the front door there at Francis Ford Coppola's office, tied up employees, took 4 computers, cell phones, other valuables. This could be a movie. Why don't we put that one in a movie? How the director was robbed. And another story that has been developing here at Drudge was this, what do we call him? Smut peddler? Is that the polite term for it? A man who tried to extort $1 million from Tom Cruise has been found dead. Boy, a lot of finger pointing on this one, too. A celebrity story and photo broker who pled guilty in extortion scandal involving Tom Cruise has committed suicide, it was reported. 47-year-old was found in a shower stall in a condominium in Phoenix, and he wasn't even at Sky Harbor Airport. He hung himself, and the shower stall was so small he had to squat to get the job done, a source familiar with the situation said. Schmidt asked Cruise for $1 million to return stolen wedding photographs and was arrested in July. He pled guilty to transmitting threatening communications with the intent to extort. He was facing up to 2 years in prison, and a lot of questions on that one. Why can't you just simply commit suicide? Why can't the woman who was arrested at the Phoenix airport simply have mistakenly committed suicide with handcuffs around her neck? I mean, that stuff happens. It's Drudge on Sunday night.
Little by little, like acid dripping out of Matt Drudge's pages.
It is Matt Drudge, Sunday night, 1-866-4-DRUDGE, 1-866-4-DRUDGE. Amy in New Orleans, you're on the air.
Hi, Matt. How are you?
Okay, how are you?
Oh, just fine, except I sure am going to miss you. I'm sorry you're not, going to be leaving us, but can you please let us know and give us a link to when you're appearing on the radio?
Oh, Amy, after all these years, you don't think I would do that? I mean, I've been accused of, that's all I do on that website. I mean.
Well, that would really be great. And you know what else could...
Where are you listening if you're not listening from a New Orleans affiliate there? Where are you hearing us from?
On the Internet.
What station are you streaming from on there?
Oh, WABC.
So you're getting that one. I've linked up, I think, 7 or 8 of them up there through the. It's the ability to go anywhere and listen on those streamings, and I understand Arbitron is going to start counting those. Or they hope to, because I think it's only fair to get an honest audience gauge if things are moving more and more online.
I think so. Well, the reason I listen on WABC is because you would start at 9:30. So
yeah, we're doing that for a long time. And you know why that started is I had the TV show when it was on from 9 to 9:30, and then at 9:30 we would come on.
Oh,
that's how that started way back, and nothing changed. The whole show was by chance. I never would have ever projected years and years and years and years of it. It was just kind of done from a love of a medium and stories to tell, and it kept going and going and going. So it was never, all right, I'm going to have a radio career that is going to span 300 stations for 9 years on Sunday nights. It was never anything like that. It was always truly a love of the medium.
Well, your little blurbs of the people saying your name, and you need to do one more of Clinton being nervous when he was a little nervous because he had read the Drudge Report.
Oh, that was in front of the grand jury. Yeah, I think I've got that somewhere here.
You need to do that one more time for old time's sake.
Because I fire my own sound here. This has all been done from these Drudge computers, so I can't find it here. I don't know where it is.
So you do that yourself?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I knew that. I mean, your personality shone right through with all of that. Yes, indeed.
All right, but thank you there, Amy. It's getting too syrupy there. Getting way too syrupy. I can't find that. Maybe I purged it. I probably did purge it. Yeah, probably. I mean, it's just going back too many years now. Too many nightmares.
And you got that little smirk on your face. You think you're so clever.
No, that wasn't it. I don't know. It's somewhere here. I mean, there are so many clips. Oh, yeah, here it is.
Well, I had a little anxiety the next day, of course, because of the Drudge report.
And then, of course, we have who's starting in now.
I give people a chance to judge me on who I am, not on who Drudge or Limbaugh or somebody else says I am. I don't feel no ways tired.
No. Please, no. Oh. Like I said, I'm looking forward to Hillary Care because at least I'll be on free tranquilizers. Oh, what bliss. What bliss. I mean, I guess it's already down to $4 at Walmart. But soon, I guess, she'll be taking care of it for me. Oh, yeah, Hillary. Write me a prescription. Write me a script, Hillary.
And I want to begin by giving praise to the Almighty.
Well, new ARG polls, these is American Research Group, have Romney in the lead in Iowa, New Hampshire, and now South Carolina. And now, keep in mind, no one has ever won Iowa or New Hampshire. If Romney were able to pull that off, he's the nominee. This whole firewall strategy of Rudy's Florida and Rudy's California, he may not get there. So Romney, as of tonight, in the lead in Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina. Do you think the establishment wants Romney? Because I sense there's part of the establishment that wants Rudy. Even though his last name isn't Bush or his last name isn't Clinton. But don't you worry, Chelsea Clinton's out there. And, we saw Jenna Bush over the weekend. Nice to see Jenna Bush. I thought Diane Sawyer did a tremendous job with Jenna Bush. There they were down in Jamaica with all the poor people in the slums. Diane Sawyer should make $12 million a year, and there's the president's daughter, and it was like, they were just happy they could get out of there. But Jenna Bush, nice for her to give an interview. We never have heard from Chelsea Clinton, right? Does Chelsea Clinton know how to write a book? She was last seen at a hedge fund company. Come on out, Chelsea.